Welcome back, everybody. Today we are discussing the first 8 minutes of the second season of Severance. In a mighty surprising moment, I got a little notification that this was happening and sped over to watch and start writing. That's right, the first 8 minutes of episode 1, season 2 is now live. Go check it out in the link below. But come back and watch this, because the episode begins with Mark running through the hallways, the never-ending maze of white walls, making it very clear that things are not where he remembers them to be. It's confusing, it's chaos, it's glorious. If you're familiar with my channel, I know that you've heard the theories about Lumen altering perceptions, and I think that this aligns. We do see one very colorful room, a purple conference room right before Mark comes to an abrupt halt, and we see the wellness room has been cleared out. This is a great reminder for everybody that watched season 1 3 years ago and needs a little refresher that any Mark figured out that Miss Casey was Gemma, Audi Mark's late wife. The urgency shows us that this was the literal first thing on his mind, and he went from the party to nothingness and to a waking in an elevator business as usual. We see this dark figure lurking in the background. It's super creepy. It's almost comedic as well. At first, I thought this was our boy, Mr. Milch, but those look like pretty pink hands. On further inspection, it really feels like they're hinting at Mr. Grainer or maybe somebody else, but really no telling. Nobody on the inside knows that Mr. Grainer was murdered, and we know that Lumen has a weird post-mortem meetup group going on here, so I would bet money that this is Mr. Grainer. Either way, it's letting us know that Mark is not freely running around these halls. This is not an abandoned building. They are still watching and controlling him from the shadows, able to intervene, but acknowledging that he needs to run out some of this energy. Then Mark arrives back in MDR, and we see the whole new cast of characters.
I suppose you're Mark S. I'm Mark W.
I spoke in the trailer breakdown about the naming here and how it could be highlighting something more, to explain why all of their names are structured in this way. Mark S and Mark W could be 2 of 26 Marks that are going through some kind of refinement process to achieve the enlightenment that Keir Egan details in episode 3.
Should you tame the tempers as I did mine, then the world shall become but your appendage.
But it could also be a red herring because the showrunners know how closely we are following these theories. They know that we are studying these shows and need to know why the innies have weird names and the overall purpose of MDR and the severed floors in general. And stuff like this is kind of where we're looking right now.
Who are you people? Would you be open to using a different first name to avoid confusion?
We see the new macro data refinement team with curious faces and the manager with his own little head cube. If you recall from season 1, this wasn't a reward for anything. It was something that they just gave Mark. So maybe we get more information about how one comes to get a little cube head in this incentive economy. We hear this line in Italian, and his body language suggests that he is leaning over to clarify something with someone or to gossip with someone who can speak both English and Italian, assuming either of them speak English. At the time of recording, this is the best translation we have. It does seem like they have some kind of rapport. Why is he standing strangely does make it seem like they know who Mark is.
A couple things here.
Why are you standing weird? Stand normal.
I guess hint the idea that they would be able to determine if he was standing strangely or not, but it really just seems like he's walking in and just is awkward.
Welcome back, Marcus.
We then see a conversation between Mr. Milchek and Mark. Mr. Milchek, as dismissive as ever, is ignoring his questions until they get to the office, but continues detailing how painful what they did to him and the company actually was.
What you all did 5 months ago was one of the most painful moments in the history of this company.
5 months?
He tells us that 5 months have gone by, and I do take that at face value, but I want to highlight that this is not a reliable narrator. We are hearing all of this from the perspective of innies, and as we discussed in the previous trailer breakdown, much of the story about them being heroes is likely fabricated. I do think the 5-month thing could make sense, but if there is any timeline trickery happening in this new season, this could be how it starts.
I too was wounded by it, but we must be cut to heal, mustn't we?
This line is dark. It really feels like Mr. Milchek is projecting here about what they have in store for the rebellious workers instead of what they were actually talking about.
Mark, this is Miss Wong. Miss Wong, Mark S.
This is when we actually meet Miss Wong. And I talked about the creepy child running around an office already in the trailer breakdown, but as a reminder, 1984. I have nothing else to add about it. Children in positions of power are terrifying, and this show casted the most inconspicuous kid in the world. So if at any point in season 2 she starts executing people or acting out the grim barbarity of optics and design, I won't be surprised.
Hello.
Mark wants to address the elephant in the room and ask about the child working in the office, but Mr. Milch runs the conversation along, once again silencing Mark's pursuit for knowledge in lieu of his own mouth moving. I studied a good number of the items in this room. We have plain office boxes. The computer is in a new place. It has a Lumen logo bouncing around as a screensaver. The painting feels important, but as we discussed before, I have no idea the importance. I was waiting for some kind of comment from someone to offer some kind of theory or thought behind it, but whatever the showrunners are hinting at with this image, it eludes me still. It does kind of seem like maybe it's a glacier, so maybe it's just meant to tell us that Mr. Milch is a chill guy now, but I don't know. The bonsai to me means a great deal, highlighting the desire to manage these severed persons like they were individual parts of a much larger specimen. We also see this image of Keir Egan in the background and what I believe is some kind of mask. It looks like it could be a dolphin nose face, but that hasn't been one of the ones that we've seen before. The computer not being on the desk is odd, maybe to show how little he needs to use it, or maybe to show how he fears the constant surveillance that likely happens to the managers in the same way that the managers monitor the severed of this floor. This little thing here also looks like it could be where the board speaker box would be placed, so maybe it's got a little upgrade here, but it also does kind of look like it just holds pens. Also, the crate here, it keeps grabbing my attention, and as I'm finally recording this audio, it's a crate, right? It's a box. You move stuff in it. At one point I was thinking it was like a human-sized doggy bed, but I'm not writing the show. Dorks are. And the dorks are telling us that they shipped something. You don't use these for intra-office moving of desk chairs. You use these for shipping packages across state lines or even countries. This box is a massive sign that this is not the office that we are familiar with. And maybe that's why they showed him running around confused. It's literally a different building, and that was how they subtly hinted as much. If the 5-month thing is not a lie, this could align perfectly to them, relocating to a new space. But I guess only time will tell.
Okay, what's happening?
Miss Cobell is no longer with this company.
Mark learns that Mr. Milch is the new manager, which heck yes. Love this actor, love this character. I feel like they are doing such a great job. It is a interesting, very complex character. I have talked in length about the possible roots of Mr. Milch and his meteoric rise and his motivations. I sense now more than ever that his actions in season 1 did directly harm Miss Cobell, even if it has not been made abundantly clear to us as of yet. They have in some kind of ways, like here.
Could you not tell us?
Did Milchek give you those?
But I feel like there's still some stuff that we don't know about what he's doing and why he behaved in certain ways in season 1. He even apologizes for locking the team in the room as if he was taking accountability. But before that, he makes sure that Mark remembers Miss Cobell singing a little Keir Christmas carol. It's strange, how he presents this somewhat apology.
Shortly before your mutiny, we installed security doors to keep you in MDR. This accompanied a punitive rendition of the Keir hymn performed by Miss Cobell. I locked you in a room like an animal, Mark.
And for some reason, I just can't shake this feeling that there's more under the surface, or he is manipulating for some grander purpose that we don't know. I just know that he's manipulating.
What about my team?
We didn't fire them.
He says that Irving and Helly made contact with people, and Dylan learned about his Innie's treason after the fact.
The 4 of you have achieved international fame.
Which again, no shot. Watch the 40-minute video of me talking about this and, the other things. But yeah, it's fake. It's fake. It's a story with what I think are tiny hints of truth, like every great lie, meant to create a believable story for the Innies. This, of course, is when Mr. Milch talks about the security doors.
I locked you in a room like an animal, Mark. As an unsevered man, I'll carry that knowledge the rest of my life. But for the past 5 months, we've been asking how a sadist like Harmony Cobell could take fertile root in Lumen soil.
This feels like the most sincere apology he could give, but it is filled with lies and a scapegoat story that properly outs Miss Harmony Cobell from the company she loves with clear and precise efficiency. If you don't think that he had some kind of hand in crafting this story, you're wrong. He knew her well, yet revels in the moments where he gets to openly call her a sadist to the severed workforce, removing all of the blame for any of his actions in the process. Just, it's so convenient. If this woman is actually a sadist and not the most loyal member of the Egan family, I am watching the wrong show. I'm watching something else. I don't know. She made a shrine. She drank the Kool-Aid. She went to the school. She is probably celibate, saving herself for Kier in the hereafter. She wasn't a sadist, but that is now canon for all of the innies, as will this story.
We believe she developed an erotic fixation on you and had plans to pursue both you and your outie in what might be termed a throuple.
It's actually genius. Writing-wise, comedy-wise, I love this angle.
You still haven't told me where my team is.
We tried for weeks to get them back, Mark.
Mr. Milchek then details how the rest of his team refused to return. It could be true, but again, we can't even trust that 5 months have actually gone by in this place, or that they're even at the right place. They could be on different buildings, on different floors, on different countries, all working different schedules or anything. Mark was given this believable story for the sole sake of it being believable.
We told them other reforms, but it wasn't enough.
Except for me.
Your outie insisted on returning.
Part of me believes this. We do see Mr. Milchek lying to outie Mark in the trailer about any Mark being happy.
I know you're still weighing whether to return to Lumen. But the Mark I've come to know is happy.
I really think the angle that we will see for Mark returning to the office is that Mark, with the information from his sister and the knowledge that his innie self is actively trying to escape, that he will continue Petey's mission with the secret anti-Lumen corporation like we are told here.
Gonna be okay. We'll finish what Petey started, Mark.
I could be so wrong, but outie Mark had a significant amount of things happen as well. He's an accomplice to murder. He is already on the docket for helping this secret group, and I really think it's strange that we see Mr. Milchek as the one convincing him to return when this secret group could also benefit from a known accomplice being back on the inside. Not saying 100% that Mr. Milchek is a double agent or Charlotte the Betrayer for anybody well-versed in the Hack's Dogma lore, but man, it could be. Also, why is Mark so important? The manager role is already filled. Everyone else is gone. Seems like they are quite replaceable. So why the story to outie Mark to make him return at all? And why the story to any Mark about wanting to dive back into the forgetful elevator ride? Also consider that this secret organization, Ragabi got the phone back. Ragabi probably also saw that he threw up on his way out. They could, if outie Mark doesn't actually want to be further involved in, this plot where he was accomplice to murder, they could just blackmail him, they could ruin his life and they could stand behind so peacefully sleeping at night because they know that it's worth blackmailing one severed worker because we take down the organization at large.
So the others, they refused.
Yes.
I'd like to hear it from them.
Let's go. All right, some more to unpack here. First off, great job continuing the character development from season 1 because they just staged a mutiny. We need to see some of that as Mark is getting bulldozed in this conversation. This is such open defiance to the Lumen authority and it needs to be addressed by the manager of this severed floor. And Mr. Milchek calmly replies with,
"That's not possible."
And a terrible smile, not a terrible smile, a gorgeous smile, but given the context, it carries a pretentious power that makes you beg for the heroes to sour it in some kind of way. I can't wait to see how they do that this season, or if Mr. Milchek will continue smiling all the way up to the top of the anime tournament hierarchy that is Lumen and the board and everybody else in the Egan family. But With that, we come to the end of the video. I think that's all we really got from the first 8 minutes here. We were able to confirm some of the information that we got from the previous trailers, able to again consider if Mr. Milch is the mastermind for his own rise in the company, or a mastermind for a secret organization trying to take down Lumen from the inside. Again, love this character, multifaceted, could go in any direction, and I think that is how you make good characters. Season 2 is right around the corner, and I am 2 videos away from completing the Season 1 deep dive, the deepest dive for any show I have ever done. I am studying these episodes. Episode 8 will be my favorite. It is my favorite, so keep an eye out for that sometime in the next week or so. Much love, everybody. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can get alerted as soon as more Severance content is available. Also, much love, everybody, and I cannot wait to talk to you all again soon.